Ramsey show. That's the David Ramsey, you know, the finance dude. NPR, NBC News, Barron's. Why fee? Customize your payments. Decrease your total costs. Low fixed interest rate. Here's the dinger. Ding, 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 ding. Bad credit accepted. We work with borrowers from all credit backgrounds, essentially trying to help people refinance their student loans. Well, here's the problem, folks. Anytime you see a company express that they're willing to take people that have bad credit, and by the way, no shade on people who got bad credit, this is a scam. Typically with these types of companies, people that are going to reach out to them and work with them are not going to be people that have good credit. People that got the good credit, they're going to go to other means, or they'll be able to pay theirs off. Their loans won't go into default. But when you have people with bad credit, a lot of times they're going to look and see, is there any company that's out there that is going to be willing to take me on? So essentially, companies like fee, this is just predatory lending. It's no different and no less predatory than the pay loan check places that give you an advance for your next paycheck. It's predatory lending. This is really important for people to see. They were connected with Dave Ramsey, which I'll show you in just a second. And then you'll see here again, they pointed out, we specialize in delinquent and defaulted private loans. So people who have defaulted or have delinquent student loans. So you're already in a negative space if you defaulted. You're already in a negative space if your loans are delinquent. And what they claim to do is that they're going to help you fix that default, that delinquency. Guys, this is a scam. If they really trying to help you, why is it that they have to wait until you have already defaulted or you're already behind to come in and help? So essentially, once you fall into that situation, they lend out their arm and say, we're here to help you. Now, why is that important? These TPU USA events, a lot of them happen on college campuses, right? So essentially, you have this company that is connected to Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA is hosting these events on student campuses. They're also promoting fee. I'll show you that in just a second. You have an entire base of students right in front of you, a part of this organization that's supposed to be a conservative movement, also to support the conservative candidates in this country. But these kids are being used as pawns. Let's go deeper into this. This is a big problem, guys. I don't think people realize, put this up here, just how crazy this is. Let's look at when fee was founded. It was founded in 2017. How convenient, right? It just so happens that this company starts during Trump's first administration and after Turning Point USA was getting off the ground, because Charlie Kirk started it back in 2012. So this company is founded in 2017 after Donald Trump won. How convenient. It goes on to say they specialize in refinancing, which by the way, guys, I do not believe in at all. Distressed and defaulted private student loans. Some of these private student loans can be from companies like Sallie Mae. This is interesting because one of the things that Charlie Kirk said is he did not approve of what Sallie Mae was doing. Sallie Mae is also very predatory. So you go from defaulting with Sallie Mae to moving over to a predatory company like these guys, because they make money off of this. Let's go to the next part here. It looks like on Reddit, people were questioning it as well. What is the actual catch with fee loans? I've seen fee mentioned a few times in the sub, but I haven't found many straight shot answers from people who have actually used them. Listen to some of the responses here. They make you default and then they negotiate a lower rate of payment to the original company, then turn around and charge you more than that. And that's how they make money. Does everybody get it now? That's how they make money. So you actually end up paying more. That's why I said it's a scam. Exactly. They settle the loans for significantly less than what is owed and then issue you a new loan for what the whole balance was and call it refinance. And they are preying on these kids. Now let's look into this company a little bit more before we get to the Charlie Kirk and the Brandon Tatum part. Let's go into the organizational chart here. Again, shout out to my source who sent me this information. You guys need to see this. So if we look at the diagram here, company, people, and vendors for fee ownership and offering map, you will see that the member that's listed is a guy named Donald Fenstermaker. He's also listed as a manager along with Lane Schoenberger. Those names are important. Don't forget them. We'll come back to them in just a second. You can see it here under member relationship, managers, Don Fenstermaker, Lane Schoenberger. Look at where it's located. fee is located in, ding, 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 Arizona. The same as TPUSA. How convenient. If you go on and see here, fee SLP4 LLC, DE, Arizona, foreign, again, managers, Donald Fenstermaker and Lane Schoenberger. Eric, let's go to part 2 of Type VNC, please. Now I need to show you who these people are and how this is all connected. Let me pull this up here. Eric, can we go to the next part? Eric or Corey? Which one of you is? Okay, thank you. Let's show you this part. So let's look at Don first. Don Fenstermaker. This is his LinkedIn. He's the CEO of Yrefy LLC, right there, out in the open. Look, he's the CEO of the largest privately held student loan company, originating $7 billion in federal and private student loans. This guy is important. Hold on to him. The other one is Lane Schoenberger. He's a piece of work. I'll get to that in just a second. He's another one. If you look at his page here, he's the managing partner and CEO of Yrefy. So these two guys work together. And they also work together when it comes to Turning Point USA. Now we're going to get to the Charlie Kirk commercial in just a second. Yrefy donates a lot of money to Turning Point USA. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. Not only do they donate money, but they were able to get Charlie Kirk and Brandon Tatum to do commercials for them. Let's go back and check it out. Now, we don't know if they knew at the time. At the time, we don't know if Charlie Kirk knew that this company was predatory. We don't know if Brandon Tatum knew it was predatory. All we know is that at some point, they decided to work along with Turning Point USA, and they've been donating money to Turning Point USA. So here's one of the commercials that Charlie Kirk did for Yrefy.
Hi folks, I'd like to tell you about Yrefy. Let's start with the facts.
Yrefy.
Yes, it's true. Yrefy investors earned fixed rates of return, with options ranging from 1 year at 6.5% to 5 years at 10.25%. And it's true, your interest is compounded daily, you're paid monthly, and there is no early withdrawal penalty against your initial principal investment. When you invest with Yrefy, you have the freedom to turn your investment income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, because your interest is fixed. Your monthly statement will contain no surprises. This is a collateralized portfolio. Would you like some more information? Just call 877-80-INVEST. That is 877-80-INVEST. Or log on to investyrefy.com. That's investyrefy.com. Yrefy. Do well by doing good.
So they had Charlie Kirk promoting this company. And we'll go to the next one. They also had Brandon Tatum promoting this company.
Hi folks, I'd like to tell you about Yrefy. Did you know that as an accredited investor, when you invest in Yrefy, your interest rate is fixed? And did you know that you can invest for 1 to 5 years and you can spread your investment over those terms to best suit your needs? And you have the freedom to take your monthly interest income or reinvest it, whatever you choose. When you invest in Yrefy, your interest is calculated daily, you're paid monthly, and should you need your money back early, there is a liquidity feature. Would you like more information? All you have to do is call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST, or log on to investyrefy.com. That's investyrefy.com for complete details. And make sure you review the private placement memorandum and scan this QR code to view the disclosure at your leisure. Yrefy, investing in America's future.
Again, so they got Brandon Tatum and Charlie Kirk to promote it. Yrefy. So what you are also going to see along with this is kind of like a mini deep dive, is that what I said before about sponsors. People don't donate money to you or your organization because they think you're doing a great job. People donate money because there's something that they want for themselves. And that's what you're going to see with this company as well. I mean, if you look onto Turning Point USA's website, again, it's on their website. Watch, college students say they have $200,000 in debt right here, Turning Point USA. We're not going to read the whole article, but look right here, right off the bat. I recently teamed up with Yrefy to talk to college students about the tuition debt crisis in America. These kids were being pimped out to a scam. So you have all these different entities, as I said before, the military trying to find ways to utilize Turning Point USA. Wink, wink. You have churches trying to find ways to utilize Turning Point USA. And now you have these student loan scammers. This is basically a scam trying to utilize Turning Point USA. And they're preying on these young people. Not cool at all. Now, there's more. If you go back to that website, let me come back in here. Eric, can we go back to Yrefy's website real quick? I want to show you a little clause that they had on there about the military. Thank you, Eric. We just need to go back to that website. And then I'll come back to that. Okay, I'll go here. If we go back to their website, there was something else that I noticed. Let me go down here where there were the FAQs. The FAQs, check this out. Can I pause payments if I'm in the military? Yes, you can pause payments due to military deployment. Yrefy will issue a forbearance based on Military Lending Act. Borrowers may be granted forbearance in 12-month periods. There is no time limit for this forbearance, but must be renewed annually. So there you go there too. If you join the military, they're willing to give you a forbearance. Interesting, huh? Now, if we go a little bit deeper, let's go back to those two guys, the two CEOs here of Yrefy. Lane Schoenberger, here he is speaking at Turning Point USA event. Gage Skidmore took this picture. Lane Schoenberger speaking with attendees at Montana State University. This was the tour called This is the Turning Point Tour at Brick Breed and Fieldhouse in Bozeman, Montana. That's Lane Schoenberger. So again, they're not donating money to Turning Point USA for nothing. They got a whole bunch of students right in front of them, a whole client base. Now let's check out Dave Ramsey, because he's one of the ones that supported this. For those who don't know, Dave Ramsey is this finance guy. He has like radio show, talk show, and he talks a lot about like how you can get out of debt, what's the best way to manage your money, that type of thing. Although some have pointed out in the past couple of years, his show has actually become more political, which is interesting. But here's Dave Ramsey, who is also supporting Y Refi, speaking at TPUSA Faith. Listen to this.
Pat Lencioni called me and he said, Charlie Kirk's doing this thing in Nashville. He said, Dave, do you believe in free speech? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, good, I want you to give one. So if y'all don't like our time together, you can just cut my pay in half, all right? So
we don't need to hear his whole speech, but I wanted to show you the connection. All these people either supporting, endorsing Y Refi, their connection to Turning Point USA. I don't know how everybody feels about Dave. I've heard him say some things that I was just kind of like, I don't think that's a good idea, but it is what it is. Now let's get back to Dan. We have to go back to this guy, Dan Fenstermaker. Let me show you an appearance that he made fairly recently. Remember that event, that TPUSA event that happened at Ole Miss? Well, they talked about it. And I want you to see something that Dan did here. He, go down to this part right about here. I think, am I the right one? Let me make sure I'm the right one. We'll come back to that one. Here's the one I wanted to show you. Utah. Turning Point USA returned to Utah, and here's what happened. So this is after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, right? Now, Dan, let's go ahead and pull him up here. I don't know why it does this on Type A and C. It's so much easier to find this when I'm not on this. I can just easily just search through. I don't know why it's doing that now. But let's get to this part here. Okay, here we go. A different vibe soon filled the arena once the countdown clock reached 0, and a video charting Kirk's career from 18-year-old organizer, one of the GOP's most prominent activists, came on screen. Chance of Charlie followed ahead of Y Refi CEO's Don Fenstermaker. So keep your eye on Don again. Don Fenstermaker discussing his debt finance company's student loan refinancing services, which was followed by renditions of the Star Spangled Banner and Proud to be an American. This is what Don Fenstermaker said. I'm not here to utilize Charlie Kirk. I'm here to pass the torch to every one of you. We are about to raise the most conservative Christian generation America has ever seen. Now, again, this is the guy who's the CEO of Y Refi, along with Lane, of course. Why was he there? To discuss his debt financing company student loan refinancing services? Why would you discuss that at that point after he was just killed? Because they got to keep that money train going. The money got to keep going. You see how this works? Imagine talking about money like that at that point. So again, the connection between Fenstermaker and Turning Point USA. He's there to recoup on his investment. And you know, I think the people participating, they probably didn't even pick up on it. But as I was reading this, I was like, probably not the best time to be talking about that at that point in time. Here's another one. Y Refi also sponsored America Fest. Now they sponsored the one in 2024. Again, this is coming out of their mouth on their website. Y Refi is again a very proud sponsor of America Fest, Turning Point USA's annual celebration in Phoenix, Arizona. So they kicking out some money. This is not just your everyday company. They're sponsoring it. They're giving money to the organization, and there's something that comes in return with that. You just don't take this money and you're not going to do anything for them. And what I see that's really odd about this is that this company just happened to start during Donald Trump's first presidential term, again, after he won. And I think they looked at Turning Point USA as something like, hey, we could tap into this. They're talking to all these college kids. This will be great for a business model. All the kids, the client right there. So we tap in, we donate money to Turning Point USA, and in return, they recruit these kids for us, more money in our pocket. That's another part of the problem, but you see how it goes. Now we go to Lane. This is another part that's really strange. Guess what Lane was doing before Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Anybody find this really strange? Hustle with Danielle shared this, but I never saw it because I believe the algorithm on X, I never saw this until my source sent it to me. It is also worth noting that the big guy in the black shirt involved is one of TPUSA's biggest donors. He owns YRefi, Lane Schoenberger. He is paying Officer Tatum for marketing. No affiliated links, though. When do big donors go to events and help? I don't know. Maybe that is the norm. On IRS docs, it shows Lane paying Larry Elder $100,000 a month for content advertising and support at a time. Charlie Kirk was receiving $12,500 a month personally, ? I don't know who he is, but the concept behind YRefi is kind of like playing Russian roulette. Very high risk investment. The whole world is allegedly at this point. So anybody find it kind of strange that Lane Schoenberger, here he is here in the picture, setting up at a Turning Point USA rally? It has YRefi logo right here on his shirt. Kind of weird that a donor would do all that. Usually people that donate money to your organization, they're not there involved in the setup, and they usually kind of just wait in the shadows. If they do choose to come forward, they may be a speaker at one of your events or something like that. But why is he setting up equipment? It's kind of weird. That's Lane. Just strange there to me. And of course, there's YRefi right now.